Welcome once again, and thank you for being here with us. This is the Author's Insight. On this episode of the Author's Insight podcast, I'll be joined by Rebecca Ellen Kurtz to talk about her new novel, Sons of God. Rebecca has always been sensitive to the spiritual world and has experienced many supernatural events in her own life, some in the form of violent physical attacks by spirits. These experiences not only significantly shaped her belief in the living God, but also added to the inspiration for this fascinating debut novel. I'm joined by Rebecca from her home in Chesapeake, Virginia. Hello, Rebecca.
Hi, Ron.
So to begin, talk about the meaning behind the title, The Sons of God.
Sons of God is actually a term for angels, and it is recorded in Genesis when it talks about how the angels came down and mated with the humans and created Nephilim, these giants, heroes of old.
In the book, you ask your readers to seek the truth in their own religious beliefs. Why should they really seek the truth? Have they not found it yet? And if they do that, what are they going to find?
A lot of religious people haven't really sought out answers in their own religious texts. They just listen to whatever their pastor or their religious elder decides to talk about that day, shake their head, and just agree. They don't go and actually, search out what the actual Bible says. And the Bible says some of the coolest, fascinating things, like angels mating with humans and creating giants. And it's really cool, and yet we don't talk about it. Why? Why not? We should.
Well, you also say that this book came from many of your own personal supernatural experiences. What were those experiences, and how did they influence your life, your research, and the writing of this book? Well,
actually, I started getting strangled and thrown and hit by evil spirits, and it made me go, oh, that's not cool. So I started doing research. And one was religious text, and the other was all this ancient civilizations from all around the world that talk about these entities as well.
And the research into these ancient civilizations, you found that spirits like that exist in most of these scriptures, and that's what sort of led you to believe in the Nephilim. Is that right?
Yeah, because I was searching for answers of how to defend myself when I got attacked by these spiritual entities, and they were doing the exact same thing. So I was like, wow, these things are still going on thousands of years. And of course, I know it happened because it happened to me. So I'm going to believe that it was actually happening to them. So if they were living during the time when these angels and humans were mating, then it's going to give me some more answers.
Do you think that civilized and developed countries try to convince their citizens and themselves that spirits do not exist?
Absolutely, which is completely preposterous, because the educational systems of the United States goes, if you can't see it, you can't prove it, it doesn't exist, which is hogwash, because you go somewhere where there's a cult, or a woman will go somewhere and they will have that sense of danger, and they know to get out of town. They don't see it, but they know. And there's just things in us, our spirits, that can sense things, and we shouldn't put on the blindfolds of science when our spirit, and we know better. We should listen to the sixth sense that says, run, you're in danger.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And also in the book you include, talk about the relationship between, is it Rechav, who's a Nephilim, and this Jordan, who's a human. Talk about their relationship, and why did you design the characters like this?
Rechav is a Nephilim, and she's not allowed to mate with a mortal who is Jordan. And I loved this relationship, and I wanted to deal with it because you have this desire, which a lot of people can connect with, because it's this spiritual desire of Rechav that she wants to be good, she wants to be holy, she wants to be righteous, she wants to live a good life, and she wants to, build the relationship that she has with the Creator. And yet she's tempted by desire towards this mortal, and it's something that we all experience.
Yeah. So if you believe that angels and mortals mated, as your book suggests, Are there half-breed angel human children still existing today?
Yes, absolutely. They're just a little bit more in hiding and don't come out too much, but they are definitely still around us. And the research actually says that a lot of what we see as ghosts are their spirits of these Nephilim that are trapped here, because their spirits are different than most just plain regular mortals. And so they kind of wander around a little bit more than normal mortals.
Again, my guest today is Rebecca Ellen Kurtz. She's the author of Sons of God. And I'm going to ask you again, your book predicts this final battle between good and evil. You believe in Armageddon. What makes you believe that we are definitely heading down that path?
Well, one, everyone has looked at the Bible and they've looked at all the prophecies, and so far, every single prophecy in the Bible has come true, even if it takes thousands of years for it to come true. There's only one big last prophecy, and that is this end times, this Armageddon. So, if you go on a success ratio of biblical prophecies coming true, I would definitely say that Armageddon is going to come true.
Let's talk about this other buzzword in your book, vampire. And you claim that, the Bible and the Quran and the Torah and many, many religious writings support the existence of vampires. How do you define what a vampire is, and do you think that they still exist today?
Yes, one, I do believe they still exist today. Well, number one, two, the word vampire technically only means blood drinker. Okay, let's get that cleared up first, okay?
Yeah.
But secondly is that they just have different words. The Nephilim, the evil Nephilim, talked about in the Old Testament, their descendants were known to drink blood. They were known to have unnaturally long lives. They were known to have a very human appearance. They were known to be slightly larger. And so if you look at all the similarities, it's pretty much where we get our vampire myths of today. But ours is actually kind of a little bit more watered down than the ones that were represented in ancient civilization.
So, Rebecca, I know that you probably have come in contact with a lot of people that don't